Time it is. It's your favorite social media coach, Melle Howard. Coach Melle in the building with your favorite cool uncle, Uncle Flood, and they're going to take you inside the game. So sit down, relax, get your favorite beverage, and hang as they take you across the SWAT, especially in Southern University football and professional sports as they talk Monday Night Football here on Inside the Game. All right, let's get into it.
Whoa, now.
What's up, Unc? What's up?
I'm chilling. I'm on IR, but I'm here, baby. I'm here.
What you did? Why are you on IR, Jalen?
Man, I blew out my back a little bit here. Well, pause, no diddy. My back is hurting. Let me rephrase that. My back is hurting.
Yes, that is. Well, I hope you feel better.
Yes, I'll be fine.
It's gonna be all well. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Game, the last for football season.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're coming. We were on a streak of happy moments coming back to the show, but we are coming with not so good news this week as the Southern University Jaguars fell to the Jackson State Tigers 41-13 in the 2024 edition of the SWAC Championship. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings. I am not, sometimes after championship games, I am like miserably sad. Like I'm like, oh my God, I can get into bed. But I had a different feeling about this showing up for our team, and even though the score seems like very lopsided, I'm optimistic about the future of Southern University football in ways that I have not been in the past. So, but let's hear from you. What are your thoughts on the game on Saturday?
I'm optimistic too. I feel like they're one recruiting class away from being a really, really good team. I felt like this team vastly overachieved.
Yeah.
Like they really overachieved. I thought Coach Graves and his staff, for whatever people can criticize it for, I thought they really did a really good job of coaching this year, of coaching these guys up. This 7-5 feels a lot different from the 7-5 2 years ago when we lost the championship.
Yeah.
This feels like we're ascending,
not
declining. It feels like we're ascending.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we were first of all, like as a fan base, we have like this like almost unrealistic expectation as it relates to like how often winning a championship is hard. And I wear my 49er helmet proudly because I think we do the same thing on our NFL team. It's like I think there's tiers of teams in the league, and like consistently, while we haven't won the big game and we all want to win the big game, consistently we have been in the conversation. There are schools who wish that they were just in the conversation, and I'm not holding us to a lesser standard. I want to win, and I want to win.
Yeah, there are no moral victories, but you can't win championships if you are in the championship game.
If you're not in the championship game. And so, like, I think this whole idea that, I think sometimes people are too critical. Yes, we can hold people accountable. Yes, we should, win. And yes, we should always be winning. But this idea that if you don't win the championship every single year, you're not good. But to your point, I think Coach Graves and them did a really good job in the first year of just trying to, coach what they had, piece together what they had, piecemeal some players and situations together in order for us to be successful. And so, but the game itself, man, that first half, I was like, oh, buddy, the wheels are rolling.
Yes. Now, I'll tell you, for me, it played out in my mind exactly like I thought it would play out. And I just hope that I hoped early in the game, I said, if we get a lead, we have to continue to go out to stay in front. Because that third quarter, I knew that Jackson State was going to do. That's what they've done all season. I went back and watched 3 or 4 of their games all season. The first half has been close. They come out in the third quarter and they attack.
Yeah.
And I was just like, if we could just weather this third quarter storm, if we could just put some points on the board, I bet on us in the fourth quarter, but we just couldn't weather that third quarter storm.
Yeah, there was a couple of pivotal points, and I've debated this post game with a couple of my friends, and as we talked about the game. But like I said, like I have a very optimistic feeling, a feeling that I haven't had in a while after a championship performance. It was 4th and 3, I believe, right before we kicked the ball off to Jackson State, punted the ball at Jackson State. And I was there was a half of us in our section like, go for it, go for it, go for it. The other half was like, no, punt, your defense is playing too well. But for me, I believe that when you're in a game like that, when you're playing against a team that's heavily favored, like there are opportunities where you conservatively play in games and you go out to win the game. I believe going forward in that moment was sending a message not only to our team but to Jackson State is like, we're coming here to win this game. And if we convert that 4th and 3, you're looking at a totally different football game. And so I think it's those moments that I wish. And I think about like NFL coaches like Dan Campbell. He lives by the sword and he sometimes dies by the sword.
Yes.
And so I wish in this moment we would have had our sword moment as it relates to us, just taking a risk. Like we had nothing to lose and everything. All the pressure was on Jackson State. And I think that was a pivotal moment because right after they came down, scored, and they got the ball at the halftime. So, but I mean, like I said, I think the team was heavily prepared for the first half of the game. We saw some things on offense that we hadn't seen before. Defense was playing lights out. We actually beat ourselves when we set down that first quarterback because we had a game plan for him. He could do nothing against us. And then Lamar Jackson Jr., he just ran up and down the field.
It was like I had seen this game in my head when I had a feeling that the quarterback was going to go down, that we were going to see that quarterback. I got to give TC Taylor credit. Rather than going with the guy who was basically the same as he had in the game, he went with his third team quarterback, who was a dual threat guy, who was more of a dual threat guy. Yeah. It took us a while to make an adjustment. We never did actually make an adjustment to that guy.
Yeah, we did.
And he ran all over us. He used our defensive aggressiveness against us.
Yeah.
And it was a great move by TC Taylor. But I thought in that I agree with you in terms of going for it on 4th down. I thought it would have sent a message, but I understood why he punted. Yeah. I just thought that there was the pivotal moment is the defense not making the adjustment and not getting the stop, because I know in coaches' mind he's thinking, we punt it, our defense is playing great, we make them drive the length of the field. I don't think your offense can drive the length of the field on my defense.
Yeah.
And I thought that, and I'm not one to blame officiating. You never hear me complain about the officials as much as you hear people complain. But I thought that face mask call, where there should have been a holding call on that long run, was a turning point in the game.
Yeah, definitely a turning point. And there were some, folks sending out images of like what appears to be the face mask, but the referee who threw the flag for holding. I don't know how he called the face mask. And if you called that flag, I think you called both of them.
You call offset.
Penalties. So
yes.
That's what I saw. And I'm just like, because it was clear two things. The defensive aggression was a real thing in the first half. So I sat on the first row on our side, and I saw when they switched quarterbacks, they were trying to in-game plan and in-game make adjustments for that, but I think it was too soon, too fast, because we had already game plan for a particular quarterback, and that's a part of the game. And so
it's hard to change. It's hard to account for a guy who can run. It's just because the run is improvised. They have very few plays that were literally designed for him to run. And when they did run the quarterback, draw the quarterback key, it was at the most opportune times. It was that's just hard. And you see that on all levels. You see that hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to stop a running quarterback in the NFL. It's just a hard thing to do, whether you make adjustments or not. And I got to give a shout out to Monet, to Quinn, because she dropping dimes over here in this comment section. The first thing when she said about we got there on our own, you are exactly right. She's dropping dimes in this comment section, so I just had to give her a shout out.
No, I mean, and that's listen, because the Sunday couch coaches. I mean, hey, I'm a Sunday couch coach myself.
Exactly.
That's how I build a name for myself. But it's just some of the. So I think that I think like from someone who I went to every single game this year, traveled with the team, like I've been around this program for I'm 35, 30 plus years, and you more than me, not to age bait, but there is just something different, and to the point, like what we saw in this program and what we saw in this team, like, is there ways for us to elevate and go and do more? Absolutely. Is there ways that we can be better prepared and a better team? Absolutely. But being under the circumstances that we're currently under, what this coaching staff and this team was like, to the point of the comments, we were picked fourth. We made it to the championship. To Quincy's point, we made it outright on our own without any help. We dominated in our conference, and even in games where we would have lost in the past, we found a way to win. And for 30 minutes of the SWAC championship, the team showed up in a way that nobody even expected them to do then. And so there are no more victories. I want to win every single championship, and God knows I don't want to lose a championship to Jackson State. But like, I think that when you think about the collective picture of where this program can go, people didn't give Coach Graves any shot. They thought we wasn't even going to be, even our own fan base, they didn't think we were going to win 2 or 3 games in the West. The goalpost has moved every week. So he won the West, and then it was like, oh, you can't do this. So the goalpost keeps moving, but I'm optimistic about where we can be. And I think, to your point, I think we're not even a full recruiting class. We are a few position players away from being successful. I think we need to like do some development as it relates to receivers. There were balls that I think our receivers have to be developed to just go up and get and not wait for it to come in that basket. And we also have a young team. Like, we're looking at a potential second-year starter next year, a wide receiving core that's like for them. So we have reason to be optimistic. And just like to your point, a few pieces away from getting where we want to be as a team.
I think the biggest improvement we have to make is on the offensive line.
Yeah.
I think our offensive line, I have been highly critical of Damon Nibbins.
Likewise.
But I will say this.
Most improved in my part.
Yes, most improved, because what he had to work with. Now, the next thing that has to improve from that position is recruiting.
Recruiting, yeah.
Because, like I said, I don't like to, and I say this all the time, I don't like to be highly critical of the students, athletes, but what he had to work with on the offensive line, and I have to side-eye this, what he had to work with on the offensive line was not exactly the greatest material.
And but the thing, I think we talked about this on the very first show after the very first game, and we talked about, Lord, the offensive line we got to do something. I don't care if you put Tom Brady back there. I remember we talked about this in detail. But if you think about from game to game, to your point, what he had to work with, and I have been hypercritical of Coach Nibbins, and I think from the day one I'm like, hey, you got to go. But in years, but the improvement of the offensive line from week to week, they gave us an opportunity to establish a running game, which is how we beat Alcorn. They gave us an opportunity, whoever was the quarterback back there. And that's another thing, too, adjust to different quarterback signal calling in mid-game. Like, the offensive line, to their credit, improved. And I saw we signed a kid from, I believe, Zachary, who's an offensive lineman, a pretty big, solid dude. And so, yes, to your point, all of those things. But we should have did awards like Swacking the Food. If I had to give most improved, I would definitely give it to our offensive line.
Well, Swacking the Food, they had time to do all of that. So, we were still dealing. We were still playing.
We were still playing.
We got to have time to do that. They were off. So, they had time to do that. The big bad Braves were off. So
so George had time to sit down and do awards. So we were still playing.
Exactly.
But no, so I mean, like I said, like I'm really optimistic about what's to come. Like I said, I'm proud of the team. People didn't want you to be proud of the team. I'm like, I'm proud of my boys.
I just gotta say this. I just gotta say this, nephew. All right. And I'm going to say this in the least offensive manner that I can find. Number one, if you didn't make your JV team in high school, Don't come on social media pretending like you actually know something about football, okay? Just because you have male genitalia does not automatically mean that you know anything about football. So, I say that to say, sit back, enjoy the game, and take it for what it's worth. Yeah. Stop feeling like you have to come on social media and be hypercritical of the student athletes and the coaches when you are not even the head coach at your own damn job. Okay? It's all right to be critical and to be emotionally invested in it. I get it.
Because we all are. Yeah.
We all are. That's why we're here. We all are. We're emotionally invested in it. But at some point, you have to turn it off and understand that these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids being coached by people who are doing the best job that they can do with what they have. So just chill out. And I'm looking at some of y'all, and I ain't gonna call no names because I know some of y'all personally, but y'all have not run as far down the block. In 30 years, the farthest you run is from your easy chair to the refrigerator to get you a drink and something to eat. Right. And you sit and you got to get an extra strength chair because your ass has gotten so wide that a regular chair won't hold you.
Okay. Because you gonna light them up.
So just stop it. Just stop it. I know some of y'all can't even walk without your thighs rubbing together.
Bruh, no. But you listen, you are fundamentally 100% correct. And that's what I think that to me of like the idea that you can't be proud of this team is like just absurd to me. I mean, yeah, I've looked at some of the material and it's not all there as it relates to exercising, walking, being able to do anything remotely close. And I also think that like our accountability as a fan base, I mean, this is like specifically for not even Jaguar Nation, other schools go through this, but like we experience what we experienced with Southern. Our accountability has to go past Facebook. Like it has to go past these 99 thesis statement pages about what you can and cannot do and what you will and will not do and tolerate, et cetera, et cetera. Like I really wish that they could ban people sometime from Facebook because it's like, this is your only platform of like where you think people hearing you. Some of y'all take a post and get no interaction on one page. You go post it in 72 other groups and get no interaction on those pages. So it's like, bro, sis, whatever. Nobody is checking for your platform. So you need to change the way you advocate for what you're talking about or what you're doing because nobody is doing it with you. And so I just wish that like, because we all love Southern. I think that is clear that we all love Southern. We want what's best for Southern, but we can't just want that when we are being successful, when we're winning a football game. Like the goalpost has moved so much this season. It went from literally we wouldn't win 2 games to we started winning games close. It's like, oh, we badly did that. Then, oh, you won't win the Western Division. We win the Western Division without even needing any help. Go to compete in a SWAC championship, half away from going to compete for a national championship with the first-year coach. Like, we've done all of this. And so like for people to be so hypercritical and to your point, can't run a dime up a tree, like you got to do better. Right. So we have to do better as it relates to our support.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting today. I posed the question because there's always conversation about the athletic director. However you feel about the athletic director, it is what it is. But I posed a question today, and I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised by the response. I asked people, what do you consider a good job by the athletic director, and what are the metrics that you use to gauge whether he's doing a good job? The post got hardly any interaction. Now, if I had said the athletic director was crap and he needs to be fired, then everybody would have been on the post. Yes. Saying what he doesn't do and what he. So I don't even think people actually know what what's a good or bad job. I think people get so emotionally invested in athletics that that's all it is an emotional investment. Like they don't like you said, they get on Facebook, which Lord, they get on Facebook and it gives them the freedom to say things that they wouldn't normally say. And then so they get it all out and they try to find the amen corner to get it, like you said, that they take it from platform to platform, trying to find the amen corner. But sometimes I'm just like, just don't press send. Just
don't
relax.
press send. And to your point, Unc, I think that's part of like switching our advocacy to actually get what we want. Because there are some things that I believe to be true as someone who is a fan of, like what are metrics that we should be looking for. And when they're not being met, these are the things that we should be working on collectively to get those things met. Because there are some things that collectively we could like, hey, we actually want to demand these 3 things this year. And this is why they are necessary for us to be successful. Because there are some shifts that we're going to have to make as a department to remain competitive. It's changing times of athletics and paying athletes. And like we are going to have to physically make some substantial changes in-house. Otherwise, we're gonna be on this show talking about like being Valley. And so that there are some things
we're gonna be talking about moving down to Division 2.
Yeah,
because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If people don't understand with the changes that are coming up, and I wish if we do a show next week, hopefully we can do a show. I want to get the commissioner of the SWAC on, because he talked to the board of supervisors at Southern about what's coming down the pipe for NIL and those things. Look, the reason the elephant in the room as to the reason that Jackson State is really is ahead of everybody else is because Jackson State has found a way to pay out NIL money. It's not a lot of money, but it's a helpful enough where they can recruit well enough, because they can recruit well enough to be better than everybody else that they're playing against right now, for the most part. For the most part, Grambling pays out a little bit of NIL money. What happened at Grambling had nothing to do with them not having athletes. It had to do with their coaching staff and what was going on with them, with the coaching staff. Because Grambling had better athletes. That's the truth be told. So we're doing some things NIL, but if in the next year, we're going to have to not only catch up, but pass those schools, pass the other schools in the state in terms of growing our NIL program and figuring out what we're going to do, because there's about to be a sea change in college athletics, in particular college football, in the next year or two. So we're going to have to get ahead of that.
Listen, as the president of one of the booster clubs, and people hate when I talk about this, but I think that there's one thing. I'm president of the quarterback club. We all know that. I think we have way too many booster clubs. So I think the first thing that we can collectively do as an organization, as supporters of the university, is consolidate these clubs. I don't care about being a president. People don't want to consolidate because they don't want to have, they want to keep titles. But in order for us to see the success that we want to see, if we consolidate the booster club, we then consolidate resources, which then means we have more resources to divvy out to support the athletic department. There's no need for an institution our size to have 10 different booster clubs. First thing. Second thing is, like, as a collective group, if we want to consolidate our own resources to build out NIL platforms, we could literally do that as individuals without having to pay 99 other booster clubs for piecemealing things together. And so collectively, if we want to see different for the university, not only will the university have to make decisions, us as supporters, alumni, and fans also will need to make hard decisions that are going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to lead to growth of the institution. So that's the first thing. If I was Roman, that'd be the first thing I'll do. I'll call a meeting with all the presidents and put together a consolidation plan, because we have too many and we have enough resources with just us to do the things that we need to do.
If you can't say amen, say ouch. If you can't say amen, say ouch. But you want to know the quickest way Roman could get fired from his job?
To say that?
Exactly.
Well, listen, I'm saying it as the president of the quarterback club. We got too many damn booster clubs. We need to consolidate. We need to have one for boostering and resources that we all collectively do the same stuff, and then one specifically that we do things like raise money specifically for like NIL and stuff. So two entities leading to a greater outcome for the institution. It ain't rocket science. It ain't hard. It's just going to take people getting out of their own minds to have power, to be a president of a booster club, and go out and be great and be successful as it relates to doing best for the university.
But you know what it is about it, Mel, that it kind of upsets me. Part of it is a lack of respect for people's position and people's knowledge of business.
Yeah.
Because all of these booster clubs start because somebody says, oh, they don't know what they're doing. We're going to do it. We could do it better. You know, and I'm not going to, once again, I'm not going to mention any names. And I'm not going to
mention names because there's a lot. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But like we've seen these clubs popping up. We've seen these things. And I have nothing against people personally. But there's so much misinformation being passed on to the fan base. There's so many things. We cannot raise money all from the same people. We're cannibalizing the groups.
Yes.
Everybody's trying to get a dollar out of a turnip that they don't have it. They're trying to get a dollar from the same people. Now, on top of that, you have to understand the system with it you're working with. Let's be real. We're not about to come in and completely change the system which Southern University works under. But you have to at least be able to understand the system that Southern works under. Like you can't come in and criticize and tear down a university and then turn around and ask the fans to contribute $100 to your group.
Yeah.
You're defeating your purpose.
Yeah.
You have to appeal to fans' passion. People feel passionate. I'm passionate about Southern.
Same.
I'm passionate. I love Southern. So when you come in and tell me, oh, we starting an organization because these people over here not doing what we want them to do and they stealing and this and that, I'm not about to pay attention to you because you don't have the right motives for what you're doing.
And I think that this is like across the board, and like we've already said that this show will be more about our venting and ranting and our either in the season than any of this set platform that we talk about. I think one of the other pieces of that is that in addition to folks like caring about the university, the reality is every single one of us as an entity, as an organization, we are not functionable without Southern University. So to your point, you have to understand, like, how do you work in the context of doing what you're trying to do in order for you to be successful for the entity. Like, I work in education and I can't do anything that I want to do or see anything that I want to happen in education without talking to the people who work in the educational systems that I don't always like. But it's like, you have to figure out what is the healthy balance. It doesn't have to be either or, it's both in, but there's a healthy balance of holding the institution accountable and also being a supporter of the institution. You shouldn't be holding them accountable and not supporting. Like, it shouldn't be like
thank you.
Like, it's a balance.
Thank you.
And your support is what creates the platform for you to hold them accountable. And I just really think people got to understand, like, that's the structure of what it is.
And another thing, you can't be a supporter, a Johnny-come-lately supporter when it's convenient or when you have an interest involved in it. Because you can be watch Southern for 20 years, but you're really not invested in it until somebody or something that is important to you becomes involved. So now you want to jump on the bandwagon and be involved in it because somebody or something that's important to you is now involved in it. You don't have any credibility with that. That doesn't give you any credibility with the vast majority, because let's be real. The people who contribute to Southern University athletics and to the university as a whole are a small group, and most of us know each other.
Yeah.
If you don't get the book in March, if you don't get the book, and those of you who donate know what the book is, you can look in the book. Now, some of us give small amounts throughout the year. Some of us donate by, sweat equity, things like that. But in general, if you gave up $99 or more to the university at some point during the year, your name in the book.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I don't have to tell the people
Who
what
know
the
the
book
book.
is, people who know.
They know the book.
They know what the book is. See, and when I see people say, well, I want to know where my money is going, they're not transparent enough for me. That tells me you have not donated. Because anybody who really donates knows that the utmost transparency comes through when you donate. If you're sitting on the sideline talking about it and you're not being about it, then I know that you haven't really donated.
Well, and that's another thing. I think, and there has been people who, because for the longest, that was the narrative that plagued our institutions, that people didn't know where the money was going. But there have been entities that have solved for that issue. So, for example, right now, with the Support of Southern Night program, with the Alumni Federation, you could literally earmark the year that your money in the program, like for example, 1 year is scholarships, 1 year is scholarships for Susla, 1 year is scholarship for band members. Like they have literally earmarked where the money is going. So this narrative that we don't know where the money is going is bull crap to me. And it shows me that you are not like in tune with trying to understand, what do I want to change? Here's the structure that exists and what I want to change. And then here's the lever of change that it takes to get the change necessary. I give monthly to the institution. I never wake up and be like, oh my God, Southern robbing and stealing my money. Can we get better? Can we do better? Yes. But
always.
Like the idea that the money is just floating around in the sea is crazy to me.
This is what I always say about those kinds of things. And I'm so glad we get a chance to have a real full rant show today. But this is what I always say about those things. Now, I'll just put it bluntly. How many times have African Americans, Black folks, ever got away with stealing government money?
Yeah.
Absolutely 0 times.
You might not like where they spend it, but they ain't stealing it.
You might not like where we spend it, but they're not stealing it because we always go to jail. We always go to jail for stealing money. And if the state of Louisiana could come in and say Southern is misappropriating funds and stealing funds, they would have shut this joint down years ago and perp walk people off that campus in handcuffs years ago. Years ago. Now, have people stolen money before? Yeah, they got caught. There's a system in place. When you're dealing with almost $1 billion operation, or hundreds of millions of dollar operation, people are going to do some things. That's just the nature of it. That's human nature. There are going to be people who do that. But the question is, are the systems in place to stop those people? And we have seen when there has been the occasion for somebody to do something, that the systems are in place to stop them. Now, as far as the foundation, I'm sorry. Al Harrell, the brother has an impeccable reputation. And to me, in my opinion, is beyond reproach. Al Harrell has literally, what he's done at the foundation has literally kept Southern University on its feet while the people in the State House in Baton Rouge were cutting budgets to the point where Southern would basically almost be non-existent. Now, like you said, we can always do better, but if you know, you know. The only reason we've been able to stay in existence and keep the doors open at Southern is, for the most part, is because what they've been able to do at the Southern University Foundation.
Right. And I think that's the part of there's so many things. We have, like, to your point, understanding the structures and the systems of how we operate as an institution really matter. There are like entities, but again, like even in those entities, like people have to get out of themselves and understand that everybody who's affiliated with this institution does not operate without Southern University. So Tremel Howard, Roman Banks, Al Harrell, Reggie Flood, nobody is bigger than Southern.
That's right.
So if we are all collectively moving towards that goal, there are going to be some things that we collectively have to do that makes us uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, the vision, the picture is for Southern. And so I just wish that like everybody could just sit at a table, say, here are the three things that we want. And I think we as fans, we could do it. We can start that now. Here are the three things that we want to be true for Southern University. 1, 2, and 3. Here's what it's going to take to change them. Now, for the next quarter, for the next year, here are the monumental steps that we're going to take collectively to see that this happens for Southern. It's not about Trammell. It's not about Uncle Flood. It's about Southern. So if we collectively on this call said we want to raise $50,000 by August for NIL money for Southern University, we could orchestrate a plan that could at least motivate us to be there and make the steps necessary to get there in order to be successful. Because it's not about any of us. If it's all about Southern, we can do a lot more. And so I think that football game shouldn't be the only time that we're thinking about what do we need to do to put Southern in the best position that it is. And to our point earlier, I don't feel like we're that far away.
No, we don't. I'll put it in perspective. Like people, criticize Roman, and that's their right. They have the right. Roman has his strengths and he has his weaknesses. But the fact is, we have this. We talk about championships, talk about winning. This semester, we won in soccer. Finally, he went out and got the resources. Our athletic director went out and got the resources to fully fund soccer with his scholarship, locker room, the facilities that they need. They got them, but they've only had full scholarships, the full allotment of scholarships. This is the second year. They won the SWAC championship. They went to the tournament and they won the championship, went to the NCAA. Bowling has been competitive and won the SWAC regular season. Our golf team is brand new. They just went to a national tournament, 2 weeks ago and finished in second place. This is a brand new golf team. And on top of that, we go to the championship in football. So all the doom and gloom, while we could be better, we're not in a bad place athletically.
Yeah, I think we need to do a show called The State of Southern and just go line by line and just and do that. And I think that's part of like when I'm talking to, because I take my rants beyond Facebook and I'm like, I'm about to call somebody and talk to somebody and talk to somebody who can fix this. I think from an athletic department standpoint, and to your point, I do believe like there are strengths of what Roman has and weaknesses. I think from my vantage point, what athletic director Banks could do better is to really utilize the people who are in position or the people who have support to understand what's happening in there. So Roman don't have to come out on all these shows and start talking about what he's doing and what he's not doing, but utilize the people around you to activate supporters to get things accomplished. And also be very, in my opinion, transparent about here are some of the barriers that exist and here's how supporters can help them. Because I know from my own experience that I've talked to coaches who don't necessarily always get what they need, but they make do with what they have. And so that could be a real conversation with fans about, look, here's what the budget allows for us to do. Here's how you can activate supporters. So again, I think we got to get out of this mindset at the institution that it's about me and everything has to be moving towards what's good for Southern. And I think that we could just go leaps and bounds. But I think you can honor progress and also hold accountable for where we want to go. Because I love Southern. There's nothing greater. And so I think that collectively we have not yet reached our full potential, be it athletics, be it whatever. And it's because there are people who are more concerned about me than we, which is the Southern University system. So
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. It is, and like in talking to athletic director Banks, I feel like he has to do a better job of communicating with with groups like yours and with the general public. And I know that he has, let's be frank, he has some insecurities about public speaking.
Yeah.
But I find if you truly listen to what he's saying and not be so judgmental about how he's presenting it in terms of, his speech or whatever, if you truly listen to what he's saying, the man knows what he's doing and he makes a lot of sense. You just have to listen to it and try to get an understanding. Now, with that being said, we have to, as an athletic department, if he doesn't feel comfortable, he has to find somebody in his athletic department who can go out and spread the word and the message, because you have too many people who don't know what's going on in the athletic department. They don't know what the goal is. They don't know what the needs are of the athletic department.
Yeah.
And so they have to be more upfront about that. And, you know, I get it. He needs somebody to be his spokesperson.
Yeah.
And not Chris Powers.
Yeah, and I think that's what and when I'm having conversations with the athletic department, it's like some of the things that are like coming off as problematic or issues that are like, you know, prevalent in our department. It's things that are fixable. Like it's people that you can activate, and like people like everybody's like, oh, trying to get in a position for a job. Like, listen, it ain't about if you again take yourself out of it. What's best for Southern? Like, there are people that can activate some of the issues, and it's not just issues like around narrative, it's issues around resources. And there are people with money who want to give and want to help with you know, certain situations as it relates to that. And so we just have to collectively figure out like, what do we do so that when we lose a football game, the narratives of all the other things are not all over the place. Like when we lose a football game, it's like it activates everything. And that's why they need to fire the man who watered the plants. Like he ain't
the former volleyball coach is mad with me to this day, and it is hesitant to speak to me to this day, because one time I made the comment when Coach Dooley lost the championship. I said, people get so mad at the football coach, they want to fire the volleyball coach. To this day, that lady thinks I was calling for her job. And what I was actually saying was, people get focused on one thing. They focus on all things that are going on when they focus on when football loses. Everybody got to be fired when football loses. Oh, they need to fire the AD. They need to fire the cheerleading coach. They need to fire the volleyball. Everybody needs to go when football loses. And that was my point. But she is literally still mad with me today about that. And I hope she's watching right now. So somebody get her the message. But it is, you know, it is, people get so invested in one thing till they just feel like, oh, this is not working, so nothing is working. And I think if the athletic department had a better communication, had a better level of communication with the fan base, and not just putting your coaches out there. I mean, an actual level of communication with the fan base, and not just like, I know they started doing the show, Roman Banks, what's the show that comes on the
Overtime.
channel Overtime, that comes on the channel that nobody watches.
You're disgusting, okay?
But it's actually a decent show. It's a decent show, and it can be informative. Huh?
There is a decent show, but I'm weak at BJ in the comments talking about Vanessa was a football casualty, because she was.
She legitimately was. I mean, in all fairness, she wasn't winning a lot, but nobody would have been paying
attention in football.
If Eric Dooley hadn't been so terrible at what he was doing, nobody would have cared.
No, I mean, it's literally. But to your point, like, yes, the show, and like, I mean, it's like those things. Like, football is literally the golden child of our athletic department, and so their success depicts how people feel about, you know, everything that's going on. I think we have a really, and we'll get to that shortly, but I think we have a really exciting basketball program that we should be getting behind and supporting, and like doing, you know, all the things. Like, I think Coach Johnson is, again, someone else that they said couldn't do it, who is like slowly but surely building us up to be a very competitive, not only in SWAC play, but against outside opponents where we are, you know, we just be Tulsa, like all those things. But yes, Vanessa was a football casualty. I mean, when Dooley lost that championship, I thought the school was gonna be gone.
look, the only person who has not been whose head that they haven't called for because of Dooley was the president. I was like, how is Shield surviving all of this?
He was new. Nobody hadn't even paid that much attention to him because he was new. But Dooley, that's what so Quincy just talked about her Dooley hate post, and I mean,
Yes,
because they were people they started giving her records for golf and soccer, everything.
exactly.
But I was one of the people who said that I believe that Coach Dooley deserved jail time because what he did to our institution was criminal. It was criminal.
I would have rather him just put on the ski mask and just come in with the AK and be like, get down and lay down. You know what it is.
No, what Dooley did to, I mean, and I think that we are still recovering post traumatic experience or whatever, PTSD. I think seeing him at the Bayou Classic on Grambling sideline, I still was just like, oh, this man need to be in jail. Like, how is he as coaching? And you know, one of the he has, I think, been released of his duties at Grambling. So that is also interesting. But yeah, so yeah, I mean,
a lot of coaching vacancies out there.
A lot of coaching vacancies out there. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, shout out to the football team. We were a success. I think it was a successful year. We all want to win the championship, and I think nobody more than the boys who out there competing every day want to win. They represent our institution, but they also represent their own individual mentalities. And I think that it's just our moment where we are not. We just haven't crossed the pivotal point to be successful. But I do believe that we are, to your point, on a recruiting class, a player away. What I do want to shift us to, though, is thinking about next year's team. We went through a quarterback carousel today. This particular cycle, unfortunately, our freshman starter went out with a concussion after the Classic and didn't get to play on Saturday. But what do you think as it relates to needs from the team? What are you thinking are the top priorities for us heading into this all season?
We're going to have to bring in some more defensive linemen, more offensive linemen, better offensive linemen. We're going to have to definitely have some playmakers on the outside. We're going to have to get some receivers who can make plays, who can go and get the ball. That is the one thing that Coach Dooley actually did have. But, we're going to have to get some guys who can go out and make plays. We're going to have to get a better offensive line, get better on the offensive and defensive line. Not necessarily on the defensive line, get better, but get some guys who can come in and replace some people. Get linebacker. We're going to have to replace some linebackers because, Derek is out. Derek Williams is graduating. And so we're going to have to do that. And today I saw that we offered, I think we offered the receiver from Pine Bluff last week, and we offered the quarterback from Pine Bluff today. So that was announced. I talked to, just off the record, I've talked to some coaches. They do want, Willie says, size of running back. They do want a bigger back. I think that's why they signed Asbury from Southern Lab, because he's a larger back. He's about 215, 220 pounds. But, for me, it's the playmakers on the outside. It's some more corners. Rodney Johnson has really improved. He's coming to his own. He's gotten better. But on the other side, they don't have to go to Rodney because all three of the corners on the other side from Rodney are really, 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 really terrible. So, other teams just go and pick on that side of the ball. So I think it's gonna be some, but we're not, even with that, we have serviceable players. Like if we brought back our entire offensive line for next season
with experience,
we wouldn't be in bad shape. We have to make some replacements on the defensive line. We have to come up with some NIL monies to keep Kelby Givens here, because I'm telling you, that man is about to get if we don't come up with some money, and I don't want to scare y'all, but that man is about to get a large cash advancement. I
was reading about that today, and I was like, oh man.
That man is about to get, I'm old enough to say this. I saw Michael Strahan play in college. He is the closest thing I've seen to Michael Strahan in the SWAC since Michael Strahan. When you combine size, speed, ability, skill set, he is the closest thing I've seen to Michael Strahan since Michael Strahan.
Well, I got $100 on that on NIL.
I got $100. We're gonna have to put that because I'm telling you, I know of two schools that have already planned that are trying to talk him to get into the portal.
Yeah,
I know of two schools that are trying to get it, and he was in the portal last year briefly, and they got it. They talked him out of it. I honestly can't be upset because the money that they're going to offer him if he gets in the portal is going to be money that he can't turn down.
Yeah, I mean, I read that today, and I was Quincy, please. I read that today, and I also was like, I follow most of the kids on social media, and I was like, reading through some of their commentary about like decisions and all this, and I'm just like, but I think that's part of what I'm talking about when it's like the evolution of the game and why we have to evolve as fans and supporters, like to be able to respond to that, because at minimum we should have collectives together to where if there is like this negotiating, because that's what's happening across college football. And you know what? I don't want the players, like, because they're the ones putting themselves on the line. They deserve to get money, and it's just where we are now. We should at minimum be able to have to, if they offer him whatever, here's our counter. This is what we can do. This is our bargaining tool. Because some players with some additional supplemental support will be willing to stay. That doesn't require us to just like, have all of the money, but we got to have something.
Just to show something in good faith, to say, hey, we appreciate you. We love what you've been doing. Just come and finish this out, because I'm telling you, this is, we're going, and I said this the other night on my live, we have to get prepared that we're going to have to pay $150,000, $100,000 to $150,000 for a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to pay. If they're getting $2.5 million a year on the highest level of college football, that means at the mid majors, they're getting $350 a year. Quarterbacks at mid majors, at say like at ULL or Louisiana Tech, they're getting between $350 and $250. That's going to be the going rate. If we're going to see quality quarterback play, we have to get ready to come up with $100,000 to $150,000 a year to get a quality quarterback. That's just where we're at. I'm trying to forewarn people that this is where we're going. Once this thing gets settled in April, the court case gets settled in April, look out. It's about to be on. We're going to have to start coming up with the money if we're going to get a quality quarterback.
And I think that's where it's going to really take like collective efforts between, like, because we all can contribute in some form of fashion to what it means to have NIL, and what does it mean to like rethink what's happening with NIL in today's society. And so everybody's not going to be able to write $100,000 check.
No.
But like, what can you do in your locus of control to provide some supplemental value to what's happening with these kids? And I think I just saw the front on the call, like what they did at the Anthony Lawrence collection, like the new flavor collection, where they're like athletes who are like at the center point.
By the way, can we get a little bit of that new flavor?
Yeah, we did. We will love new flavor here.
Can we get a little bit of that new flavor?
But like whatever it is, like however you with your locus of control, what could you do to provide for an opportunity for the university to supplement that? And then how do we address needs? I mean, it can be done, and it doesn't take everybody doing everything, but it takes everybody doing something in order for us to get competitive in this market. And I think it's time. And I'm on board. I love that there's even a conversation. But I do believe that we need to start to think about what are those three things that we want to see, and how do we start moving towards them now as opposed to later. And I think that we can get it done.
I do too. I believe we can get it done, and we're going to have to get it done. If they're complaining now, just wait. If you think you're lonely now,
wait until tonight.
Wait until you don't have that NIL money. So, that's kind of where we are right now, and so I'm hopeful that we can pull something together. And the thing that encouraged me the most was, like I said, during Bayou Classic, the commissioner of the SWAT came and talked to Southern's Board of Supervisors. And what was not so much, what I like the fact that he communicated with them and talked to them for, he had a good 20-minute talk. But what was refreshing to me was that our board members, that a core of our board members knew what was coming down the pipe and were trying to come up with ideas to get in front of it.
Yeah.
One of the board members even had the discussion, asked the commissioner about what did he think about making the athletes part-time employees of the university. That was, so there's conversation being had in those rooms about what we need to do to get ahead and to be prepared for what's coming down the pipe.
Yeah, and I think that's part of like what we just need to just start preparing or wrapping our minds around is like it's here, it's not going anywhere. It's like one of, like, again, going back to my work in education, it's like people who responded to the changes that were happening are in a situation and predicament right now to be successful. People who act like it wasn't existing are like in la la land, because like it was slowly happening to us and we was like, oh, that's not gonna matter, that's not gonna do whatever. And show as the grass is green, that's happened. But speaking of board members, I want everybody that if you don't follow your governor on the Instagram, there's been some new appointments of board members to the Southern University Board of Supervisors.
Have been.
So I would encourage everyone to look up some of these folks. To look up their names. Obviously, it was announced a couple of weeks ago that Attorney Clayton is going to be the new board chair, but there are some new people on the board, and it's going to be quite interesting as it relates to the future of our institution based off of who's there. And so if you are not mindful or if you're not paying attention, I encourage you all to start paying attention to board meetings as the new board members roll on. Just to see what the conversation is like, because I know that there are going to be some people jockeying for some drastic changes for our institution. Some good will make us uncomfortable. Others we may not be supportive of. So you guys need to just start paying attention to that. But before we get out of here, I do want us to talk about the Celebration Bowl on Saturday and make any predictions. We have about 2 minutes remaining on the clock. So,
man, we have blown through everything. We didn't get our promotions in.
We just
blew everything. Oh, go ahead, man. We just blew everything away. We just got to talking, and it just ran away from us.
Yeah. So we will shout out to our sponsors, people who have been sponsors of Getting Inside the Game. We appreciate you guys, particularly. Folks who have like continuously supported week to week. Shout out to that. We do have a special, I don't know if the special promo is here today, but we do have a special promo that we want to give for one of our ad sponsors. Is that here today? I don't know if it's here today. Maybe
Which
not.
one is it?
The one you sent today.
Oh, is it? I don't know. Do we have it? I sent it today.
So often I'm asked the question, Anthony, what has caused your career to be so successful? Is it the love of the fans, the love of the crowds, or simply the love for the music? And I must admit that being authentic and staying true to who I am is the answer. I am a father, a singer, songwriter, producer, actor, and author. I am Anthony Hamilton, and who I am is all because of the amazing love of God.
Order your t-shirt today at hisloveisamazing.com.
So,
yes.
Shout out to us. We went from a Facebook Live show to having Anthony Hamilton as one of our featured ad sponsors. So, shout out to Anthony.
Yes. He is a backer of the amazing movement. You can order your t-shirts for the amazing movement. They're going to support us, and a portion of the t-shirt sales are going to come back to us. That is Apostle Marty White. He is the leader of the amazing movement. Anthony Hamilton is supporting him and is featured on the song and as part of the amazing movement. So you can get your T-shirts. Follow the amazing movement. It's on my Facebook page. It'll be on our website and YouTube and all of that good stuff. So make sure you go out there and support the amazing movement. Get the T-shirts so we can get a few dollars.
No, like, again, thank you guys so much. It takes all of you to be supporters of Inside the Game. And even though football season is over, that we still have some other things coming for you guys as it relates to basketball. The show times might be a little different, but we'll communicate all of those things out differently to you. Shout out to the people who have been sponsors. We have a YouTube page. We have a website now. We are growing the moment, and I appreciate it. We could not do it without any of you. But before we go, Unc, we need to, be a part of the action, become a sponsor.
Yes.
Inside the Game YouTube, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube page. And finally, visit our website. All of those are everywhere, so you can find them and see them. But before we go, Unc, prediction for the Celebration Bowl, and then hit us with your closing spiel.
South Carolina State Bulldogs, baby. I'm rolling with Chennis Berry. I'm rolling with Chennis Berry and the Bulldogs. I will never, ever, 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 ever pick Jackson State to do anything.
Yeah, I am also rolling with Coach Chennis Berry and the Bulldogs. Congratulations, Jackson State, on an amazing season. But I have already typed up my just went post, so I know. But a successful Chennis product, in my mind, many ways, of Southern University. But so shout out to Coach Berry. I hope he does well. But again, no, for real, shout out to TC Taylor, one of those coaches that they said they could do it post Dion. TC has proven.
I actually like TC Taylor. I'm sorry, I actually like TC Taylor.
I really do like
his school.
Same. I don't like his school, but I definitely like TC Taylor.
Yes.
And he did it in the midst of all the naysayers and similar stories, and he has been successful. So shout out to them. Should be a great game. I will be tuned in, even if you're not going to Atlanta this weekend. Make sure you watch it. It is still all of our games, and it continues to thrive after all these years. So we want to keep that going. But without any further ado, Unc, send us out of here.
Man, I tell you what, the man upstairs says the same. We'll be back at the same time in the same place. And before I get out of here, let me say this to all these other content creators: watch us. Watch us. It's not bragging.
What did I say? We coming.
It's not bragging if you actually do it. Y'all get better, because we already among the best. All right, so y'all get better. So we coming. The man upstairs says the same. We'll be back at the same time, the same place, because always we'll take you inside the game.